This conference will now be recorded.
It starts today's session. So in the last session, we were discuss about how to work with model form. Based on the model, how to create the form. And in today's session, I'm going to discuss about a dynamic URL concept. What is dynamic URL? How to work with the dynamic URL? We'll discuss in detail. So dynamic URL concept means dynamic means runtime. Runtime means at the time of application running. The moment when we click on the link, that link can identify the URL dynamically. Based on that URL, and concerned view will execute and it will display or result into other page. So for example, normal URL, you just think about normal URL, HTML URL. Hyperlink we can create or not. How to create hyperlink in HTML? Anchor tag, hyperlink reference, flipkart.html, like any page we can use. That is direct link. But here we are working with dynamic URLs. Dynamic URLs means what? That at the time of application running, when user is going to click on the link, along with that link, it should go to URL and it should identify the URL name. Using that name through, it will execute other view. Other view through, it's going to display the output into other page. So that means simple logic here. How to move from one web page to another web page? Straight away I'm saying. To move from one web page to another web page or one template to another template, we use dynamic URL. Dynamic means runtime. URL means link. At the time of application running, when we hit the link, that link will go and collect the URL name in the urls.py. And once it identify the URL name, that name through it will navigate to other view, other template. This is dynamic URL concept. While working with the dynamic URL, we can send some values also during the execution time. Okay, I'll show you ultimately the dynamic URL how it will work. So first let's activate virtual environment my env slash scripts slash activate my env slash script slash activate. So let's create a new application for dynamic URL purpose. My app 8 I'm preparing. To create a new application, simply python space manage.py start app my app 8. My app 8 is created successfully. Once we create my app 8, let's go to settings, and here my app 8 I'm preparing. My app 8. Okay, yes, let's close this URL settings. Let's focus on my app 8 night. I'm just trying to create first what actually simple. Uh, I'm trying to create one uh, employee. Suppose employee view I'm creating in the view section. Let's see, view section. Okay, first I'm creating employee view. So how to create a view means simple. Def emp underscore details I'm taking request. Now it's going to return vendor current request, current request. Where it has to go, anywhere you can send this, not a problem. Suppose I'm going to send this display.html. Display.html I'm using. Do you have any display.html page already? Let me check in the templates. Because if you have already, then it will not work. So display.html. So we don't have any display.html page. Okay, fine. we don't have display.html page. So emp detail is a view. Through this view, I'm going to send this rendering template into like display.html. Fine. So in this templates folder, I'm trying to give HTML page display.html. Just for convenient, whether it is display.html page or not, I can say that in the h2 section simply display page. This is this display page. Okay. So we have to visit this display page. You have to know that whether that is display page or not. We have to display it. We have to just display. Okay. Yeah. Next, I have to set the URL for this view. How to set the URLs for this view? urls.py under my app 8. Okay. So my app 8, right click, new urls.py, urls.py from django.urls import path from my app 8 is your application name, import views, URL patterns. This is not required to tell you again and again because many times we have discussed already. Path, no path I'm taking. So here you can see views dot emp details is the view name. That's it. This URL we have to include into project level URLs. So here my app 7 it is. I'm just giving the name and make it side. And I don't want to give this name current application. I'm including this my app 7, my app 8 dot URLs, my app 8 dot URLs, my app 8 dot URLs. Okay, yes, this is okay. Path include my app 8 dot URLs. Fine. This is project level URLs, application level URLs, display.html. Yeah. There is no dynamic URL concept is involving right now. It's a normal view I create in this views.py. This view through I am sending response to display.html. Display.html will be visit and that is where display page is there. In urls.py I included views.emp details only. That's it, simple. Let's start server. Python space manage.py run server. And we run server. Now you can see we got this display page only. Is it? Yes. Got my point. This is display page only. Simple request. But just I'm showing once I am in the display page, but I want to move to another page from here. So once you are going to display in the display page, from that display page, I want to move to other page like home page or some page. Okay. So in that context, dynamic URL is required. I'll tell you why. Suppose let me create a home page. Here home page I'm creating home view. df home current request return render current request. Here it will be my home.html. It's my page name. My home.html. Got it? So here two views are there. Home view, emp details, display.html page. Yes. So here in the URLs, we have to include home view also. But I'm not providing any name, just views dot what actually home. But here you can see emp details is there, home is there. But first, which will execute? Home. Okay, look at this. First, it will execute what? Home only. Next, it will go for EMP details. Got it? Yeah, let's run this server. But home.html page did I create? Like views through my home.html is there. Did I create my home.html? No. Let's create my home.html template. Right click on templates, go to new HTML, my home.html. So here I'm writing h1 section through my home page. My home page. Now here no dynamic URL concept is involving search still. Okay. Only just I create a application. In that application, I create some views. What views? Two views. Home view. Home view is sending response my home.html. emp underscore details view is there. This will give the response into display.html. This is very simple code. Okay. This is very simple code. Just try to understand how dynamic URLs are going to work. Okay. Yes. Now, the moment when we hit this URLs, first home view is going to execute. When home view is executing, it will send what? My home.html. First, we will see my home.html. Okay, but display.html is not there. So look at this now. Here, start the server. Manage.py run server. Click on this link. My home is coming. But my requirement is from this my home page, I have to go to display page. Got my point? From this my home page, I have to go to what? Display page. So for example, generally in the normal HTML page, how we can give my home to display page. Okay, my home is there here. To go to display page, how we can give normally? Okay, so here I'm giving anchor tag. Hyperlink we have to create or not? Yes. Href is there or not? Yes. So my home.html I'm giving. This is link. Look at here. Click here to go my home. Click here to go my home page. This is not a dynamic URL. It's a normal URL. Normal hyperlink reference. Now let's try to run this. You are into home page, my home page. Click here to my home, not click here to display page. Sorry, click here to go display page, because already you are into display my home page. I have to go to where? Display.html. Okay, yes. Let's reload the server. A normal response, normal HTML link, sir. Hyperlink how to give now. Okay, this will work. Now you can see my home page we are in. Click here to go to display page. Now you can see what's happened here. Just tell me, is there any identification? Yes. If it is normal template, look at this. Normal template, it will go. Got my point? Normally, when we execute the template without server, it will clearly display .html. It will page not found is there clearly. Yes. Okay. This is executing via what? Through Django server. Got my point? That's what it's not visible. Suppose look at this directly. My home.html is there. No, I'm not going to run through server. If you are run server, you are hitting the link. No, when we hit this link, this means what? You are executing this pages through server only. Immediately when we click on this link, it will go to URLs. Okay, it will look for URL. What is the first URL name? Home. Home is there. Home page it will visit. Home page means you are executing this request and response with URL means that is the Django server is involving. Okay, that's what here when I click on this link, home page is coming. When I click on this link, it has to connect with URLs again. It has to identify the URLs again. Display page, it has to visit, but it is unable to identify the URLs. There is no URLs to visit display.html. This is where dynamic URLs are required now this time. Got my point? Yes. But sir, if I don't execute this myhome.html through server, look at this myhome.html is there. Directly I'm executing here by clicking on browser. This is direct execution. No server is involved. Now I'm giving browser here. Now this time it will go or not? Happily it will go. Why? Because it's not executed by server. It's a normal HTML only executing in the browser location. No server involvement is there here. This is very important observation. Got my point? So I am into home.html. It's a purely HTML page. Pure HTML page I am running directly in the browser. It's not going to be run by server. And browser link is there. Click here to go display page is going. Why? Because here I clearly mentioned the address what display.html. Based on this it will. Got my point? So this is clearly here, but my requirement is what I want to execute this application by server, Django server. You can see when I click on this link, after click on this, click here to go display page also. This link through I have to go to URLs, and the URL should be identified. That URL name through display page has to display. This is what we use dynamic URL concept. Okay. Now this time if I click on it, it unable to find the URLs. Why? Because there is no URL names are there. So how to provide dynamic URLs means simple logic. Look at this here in the URL section. You have to provide concern names. Like for example here, I'm going to visit from home page to display page. Okay. Here I'm taking name equals to name equals to what actually here display I'm taking. URL name it is display here. What name it is? URL name. Name attribute is required. Look at this, for the first time I'm using in urls.py. I'm using name. Name equal to display means what? This name can be identified by the other views. Okay, and automatically this will execute now. Look at this. We are into myhome.html. It's a normal URL. It's not a dynamic URL. So dynamic URL how to give means look at this. Same simple. Anchor tag common href equals to double flower brackets percentage URL space. What is the URL name? We have to give this. Display is the URL name. That's it. Matter is over. Dynamic URL. Just strictly remember all of you, this type of URLs we are going to use rapidly in upcoming sessions. Again, they don't get confused. Now the moment what will happen in this case, when we go to execute this server, directly home page will come. You can see home view is there. Home view through we are getting what? My home.html. My home.html page will be displayed to you, and after that here link is there. When user is trying to click here to go to display page, and immediately this URL can identify this name by going where? In the urls.py. Directly it will go to urls.py, and the name of the URL name is what? Display what we have supplied. Based on that dynamic URL name, this name through it can identify to execute what view? EMP details view. Immediately EMP details view execute, it will go to display page. Display page will be available as. This is what dynamic URL will work. Look at this. Previously when I was clicking this, that was not shows. Now this time you can see when we click on this, click here to display. Why it is not going to display? Yeah, actually there is no URL name is there. Just observe here. There is no URL name is there. Okay, display. Here also let's try to do my home.html display. Everything is there, but why it's not? I have to give the name of the URL. Just a moment. It will work, sir, no doubt at all. With the name of the URL, because empty name in the sense again it will redirect to home page only. Now you can see. Okay, because that empty names are there, no, two or URL names are there. URL name, you have to give that any name of the URL. This is the name, because both are don't have any name in the sense compulsory Django can identify the same URL without name only. Got my point? Now this time we got displayed URL or not? Yes. This is dynamic URL. Dynamic URL in the sense what? The moment when we run that first time, home view will execute. Home view. Home view through we are displaying what? My home.html page. My home.html page is coming here, and this is called dynamic URL section. Only this thing is new thing for you. Remaining things are same. This is only new. Here text is common, anchor tag is common, href common. Only this thing you have to remember. In the flower brackets, percentage URL, the name of the URL compulsory it should match with what? urls.py name. So using this name through this link, whenever we click on this text link, no, this link will identify using this URL name through display. Directly it will go to URLs. Name equal to display is there, no, name attribute is there. This is called to provide URL names in the urls.py name attribute through we can provide. By using this name, it can call what? EMP details view here. This we will execute. So let's rerun once again. It's working fine. This is executing by server, not HTML. If you want to execute normal HTML way, no need to use any Django URLs. Directly, dynamic URLs not required. Directly you can link. So my home page to display page we are visiting. But sir, I want to go back to again my home here. Right now we are into where? Which page? Display page. From this display page to I have to go back to home. So I need to provide one more URL in the display page also. Can I provide? Yes. How to provide? Look at this display page. Here I'm creating one more dynamic URL. Just moving back. The dynamic URL creation purpose anchor tag is required. Inside the anchor tag, href attribute equals to simple flower brackets percentage URL name. I'm just giving home. Now here I'm taking just back to home. I'm giving okay. But the moment when I click on this back to home link, it will use what name of the URL? Home name of the URL. Immediately it will go to URLs. It will identify, try to identify home name. But do you have any name of the URL here? No. Name equals to what? Home. Name equals to home. Now because of this name, it will call what? Home view. That's it. Okay. Yes. Let's see this now. Python space manage.py run server. Run this. We are into home page right now. Click here to display page is there. Now display page. Back to home in the sense. Again back. Got my point? Through server, through link, I am going to move from one page to another page. Clearly observe. This is the concept called dynamic URL concept. Simple. I'll show you one more example also. Okay, dynamic URL concept. This is back to home, link through. Here also link through. Okay, normally if you go to normal HTML templates, okay, directly we can link that href That is normal HTML. That's not going to execute by server. Got my point? That's not going to be executed by server. So it is executing. But here we are going to execute every page by server. That's the reason I'm just giving links, dynamic URL link. So try to understand that flow. So these names are very, very, very important now. Without this name, your request will not identify the URL dynamically. Then we cannot send the target page. We cannot reach to target page. This name must and should match in the URL name. These are the URL name. This name through it will execute proper view. This name through the moment when we click on it. Got my point? Yeah. Next, what I'm trying to say here, just
Mm,
observe.
sir.
So we are into. Tell me.
We can go to that another application, like we can go to the another application pages also, sir. Like if you are creating that on one single application view only, sir. We can like this. We can go create another application views and we can configure like this
I
one
understand that.
application
Yeah,
to another application.
yeah. I understand that. But that is also possible. But we have to do the directories, different directories clearly. Identify the URLs and that application it has to go that application URLs. But actually, application to application completely differently execute. That's not possible. I think so because I'm thinking right now. See, the URL in the browser side we are giving means we are moving one website to another website in real time. Direct link that is URLs not. But here we are working with the same application, multiple pages we can use. One application to another application we cannot move. Why? Because this application URLs, how it will be configured with other application URLs. Got my point? So it is typical to find that URL address with one application to another application because no one knows that that application might be run with what recent application we don't know. That is the typical process. Again, we'll try, but actually it's not possible. I think so. Your question is absolutely fine. So how to move from one web application to another application with the dynamic URL? But it has to recognize the application URLs and with project level URLs. Again, in these URLs, we have to find the URL names also. We'll try to find the solution for that also. Might be not possible, but I'll try from my side also, according to your question. Sure. Now, in this dynamic URL, we can also send the values. Yes, sometimes we can also send the values. For example, how to send the values means I'll try to show you. So just observe here. In this EMP details, I'm trying to use parameter. EMP underscore ID is a parameter. Function with parameter, you know that. Okay. This function is having right now parameter value. Parameters are input values to the function. Call this function, it will expect some input value or not. Yes, EMP ID. So this EMP ID I need to send as a context. So EMP equals to it's a context. Context is always in dictionary format ID colon EMP ID. This EMP ID I need to send into here. Context equals to EMP. That's simple. I'm expanding this program just by adding underscore details request object with the first parameter, EMP ID the second parameter. While executing this view, I'm supplying the ID value and stored into here. This value I'm sending into where display.html equal to EMP. So EMP means context dictionary key name. This dictionary key we have to use in the display.html. You know that dictionary key means this is only ID. So in display.html, what I'm trying to do here, we have h1 section. ID I'm taking. ID means what? This is dictionary key. Now let's see this. To this, but look at this here. We are executing this EMP details view, but this view is expecting what EMP ID. But did we supply any EMP ID here at runtime? No. Look at this EMP ID. We have to supply this EMP underscore ID. Have to supply or not this EMP ID. So EMP slash EMP ID have to supply. Not my point. But just observe. Let's run this. Now you can see no reverse match at reverse for display with no arguments not found. One patterns to find. Okay, one patterns to find. So these are the patterns also we can able to navigate here. But right now you can see this. The moment when we go with first page is going to be happening what actually home.html is there. Home.html. Home.html page. Next display page is there. First it will go to home.html. After that it will go to display.html. But in this my home.html, already we have provided this link. What is that? Display page. Reverse for display. Okay. Display with no arguments means look at this. Display view is calling or not? Yes. Whenever we call display view, immediately it will call what actually EMP details. EMP details is looking for some ID or not? Yes. That ID we need to pass compulsory. Where? Here in the URL section. Look at this. Here. Display with ID number 1. This will work now. Display with ID number 1 because this display URL true. Along with this, you have to pass ID number 1. Then only it will execute. When we click here to go to display page means URL name through it will call display and immediately it will go to URLs. This display URL name is expecting one value or not. That value I am supplying here only. That's it. Where here ID number 1. This one will travel to the display.html. Let's see this. Run this now. Home page is coming. Now click here to go to display page means display page is having ID number 1. If I supply here also now you can say ID number 2 means ID number 2 in the URL. ID number 3 means 3 is coming. ID number 4 means 4 like this. Whatever the IDs are there. Got my point. So here this display name URL is calling EMP details. But while calling this EMP details view, we have to supply the parameter because in the view section, EMP details view is having additional parameter ID number 1. 1 will be here. That ID I'm accessing into display.html. In display.html, that ID I'm printing here in this. We are sending ID. But I want to go with like this. Suppose here you can see I'm trying to go with my home.html here. Okay, display 1. Means I'm just taking employee 1 like that. Just employee details. Employee 1. Employee 1 link this. So multiple URLs I have to prepare dynamic URLs. Multiple like this. Display 2. Display 3. Display 4. These are all ID numbers. To employee 2. Employee 3. Employee 4. Got my point. Display 1, 2, 3, 4. The moment when we hit this link employee 1, this display URL name through 1 will be passed to the URL address. Here 1 will come. The moment when we hit this employee 2 and this display URL name through 2 will be there. 2 is going to be stored here only. 2. Then along with this 2 we are calling this EMP details view. Immediately it will go to EMP details view and that 2 will be stored here. That 2 value is ID. ID is I'm accessing into display.html. Display.html that ID value will come. Which employee details you are clicking, that employee details will be there. So this is multiple requests, multiple URLs. But look at this multiple URLs, how it will be find here. There is no gap here. So employee 1, employee 2, employee 3, employee 4 is there. but I have to go with the next line. To go with next line, simply we have to use BR packs. We have to use BR means break line here. BR. Here I'm taking BR. Again BR like this. So that's all. Now let's the moment when we re-execute this one. So the moment when we click on employee one, immediately it will go to where? URLs with name display. Passing this along with link only. One value I'm passing ID number one. That ID number one will stored into EMP ID. EMP ID will be the other page, display page. Do you want to back to home? Back to home. Employee two. Again back to home. Employee back to home. Employee four like this. This is how dynamic URLs are working style from one page to another page by using link through. But I am trying to change my conditions. Or look at this. So my condition is look like I need to go with this conditional based things. How to do this conditional based? Suppose the EMP ID is going to be here. So I have to write the condition. If EMP ID equals to 1. 1 means what? If that ID number 1 means employee is going to click on this my employee 1. ID number 1 only or not? Yes. In the one case, what I want to say that I need to create a context like this. Context should be like this. ID, EMP ID, and one more key I'm taking name. Look at this name. Mohan, I can say that. If it is ID number 1, you are passing. If we click on employee 1 link, ID 1 only. That one ID is matching with this. Then name I have to display Mohan. ID also display. Again, one more if EMP ID equals to 2. And context should be like this EMP ID colon EMP ID colon EMP ID comma name is like Durga. I have to display. So different names like this. Next, if EMP ID EMP underscore ID equals to 3, context is EMP equals to then ID colon EMP ID comma name is that is any name you can take with ID number 3 name colon SURY Surya. If EMP ID equals to 4, then the context is EMP equals to again context is dictionary that is ID colon EMP ID name colon Kiran like this. Okay, so this is what my just conditional base. ID number 1 means name should be there ID and 1 name is Mohan. ID number 2 means like ID not required else block because I'm counting only one condition is there. Else is not required. Only one. Because at a time you are clicking on what? The link is one only. What link is there? That link condition will target. That's it. Okay. What link you are going to click on, that condition will be checked. That name will be rendered. So where it has to be display that display.html. But in display.html, what? Just look at this. ID is there here. Okay. But the name is not there. So simple. I'm trying to write my description. So how I'm writing description, you can see that is also with logical name. Okay, ID is like this. Name ID is ID. So and so name ID is so ID like this. It will come. Let's see this now. The moment when I click on employee one, look at this. This is the problem. Normally, most of the students will get this. Cannot access local variable EMP where it is not associated with value. Unbound local error at EMP1. Why? See, note this point URL address. The moment when I click on employee one link, dynamic URL link, ID number one is traveling or not? ID number one. Why it is traveling? Because when we click this link, employee one link, ID number one is traveling. Yes, ID number one. Along with what URL? Display URL. It will go to URLs. Name of the URLs display. ID number one will store here. This is what type? String type actually. Immediately this ID through we are calling what? EMP details. EMP details ID number one is integer type. So string and integer is not matching. That's the reason here we have to provide int colon. Okay, int colon is there. While passing the value, you should be convert into integer. Along with integer value through, we are calling this emp details view. Immediately emp details view. This is integer. This is integer. Both are same or not? Yes, that's what it is working now. Sir, I don't want to maintain integer. What is the procedure? I'll show you that also. Now you can say employee one means, look at this, employee one. Mohan ID is one. So this is formatted string. According to my convenient, I arrange that into where display.html. Here first part I am passing name and ID is, second part I am passing ID. This also possible. Mohan ID is 1. Back to home, employee 2. Durga ID is 2. Name is coming, ID is coming. Back to home, like Surya ID is 3. This is Kiran ID is 4. Okay, yes, fine. Next, sir, what happen if I don't give this uh, in the URL section integer? As I said, no, directly whenever we are going to clicking on this dynamic URL link, this ID1 is by default runtime values are string or not in Python or anywhere. The string value is going to be notice here. The string value is going to be stored here, empid. That string value is going to be compared into this view section. This is integer actually, which is coming from URL, but you are comparing this integer to integer has to compare. But actually, this is string only coming, but it is integer compare is not. Even though in the URL address, if we don't provide integer, then what we have to do in the view section, that should be enclosed within the single quotes. This is string, but this is not good practice. Okay, just I'm showing here within the single quotes I have used or not. This once. That means it's a string only. String is matching. Anyway, we are passing string ID1. That also matching with string. It will work now. There is no issue at all. Look at this. No issue. Go back and here. Which link you are clicking, that link through it is working. But this is not recommend. Okay, just I'm going to use Control Z. Should not convert this now one only. But while URL section, you have to decide what type of value you should convert integer type. This is the good practice in reality. So this is about dynamic URL section overall in this today's session. So I'm not going to start a new topic immediately. New management techniques are there that we will be discussing tomorrow session. Cookies, sessions, cache mechanism, what is the purpose of state management, where do we use state management techniques in real time, okay, daily access websites purpose, and detail that in tomorrow. But just don't ignore this topic, dynamic URL. You should practice it because even in upcoming session in the project development also, okay, we are going to what we can see working with this. We are going to work with multiple parameters. It's not possible dynamically. Okay, one single parameter. Multiple parameters also possible. Some star arc, star KW arcs. You might be know that in Python, star arcs allows us any number of values to the function. That context is different. Okay, fine.